And we're up.
I'm still blown away by the tools on the side.
You know, I've been paying for this program for 3 or 4 years now, and I'm so
Maybe we
sad
should
that you don't know any of the stuff that's in it.
maybe we should start using it.
Sir, you're the director.
Sir, I'm talent now. I mean, if you, I don't know if you've been paying attention.
Okay,
this,
great.
this is Talent Acts. I'm
Okay.
Leroy. That's Michael. This is the We Trying channel, our Nerdy by Nature Productions.
Hmm.
As you can see, we're still figuring things out. But
Why you got the
Michael, what are we
Restream
talking about?
logo up? I'm trying to figure out why you have the Restream logo up. They ain't paying us. We pay them.
I have the Restream logo up.
Yes, and your want to touch all the buttons on the side.
Sir, I literally hit don't put that up there.
I
Like
think you did
hide.
the opposite. There you go. I think you did the opposite of what you thought you did.
I might have double clicked it.
There you go. What are we talking about? We're talking about TV, television, and why it sucks, right?
No.
Isn't that isn't
Well,
that what isn't that what a
let's
famous movie director said? I'm
your
being
boy,
hyperbolic.
uh
He didn't say it sucked, but
your favorite person, Tarantino. Um
I don't think I've ever said that once.
so what?
I don't think I've ever said that once.
I don't know. Somebody go through our clips and look to see
Yeah,
Michael's love for Tarantino. Uh,
sure.
no, I came across this and it was really interesting because I'm. It's always telling to me how people enjoy media and television and their
Hmm.
media consumption by how they describe it. And so I'm pulling up this article from IndieWire. So recently, Quentin Tarantino went on Joe Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, and
Oh, you did change the font. Oh God, you're like a child. Keep going.
I did.
I see it now. I'm seeing it pop up. Keep
I
going.
literally said I changed it.
Keep going.
Did you not hear me say that? I literally said, "Oh,
I
Christmas
heard you
font."
say. I heard you say the word Pacifica, and that was it.
Yeah, I said Christmas font. Oh, it's Pacifica.
I don't know that. I didn't know that meant that you clicked it. I just thought you
I,
were
I
clicking it.
literally said I clicked it. Anyway,
I don't think you said that.
pay attention. Well, show me video that I didn't say it.
Okay.
Um, so Quentin Tarantino, along with uh, co-host Roger Avery, um, basically they were talking about television. They were talking about Yellowstone. And here's the article. This article is written up by Christian Zilko from the IndieWire. Quentin Tarantino isn't impressed by prestige TV shows using cinematic language. It's still television. Um, Everyone talks about how great television is, and it's pretty good. I gotta say, Tarantino said during a new appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, but it's still television to me. What's the difference between television and a good movie? Because of a lot of TV now has the patina of a movie. They're using cinematic language to get you caught up in it. Tarantino answered his own rhetorical question by telling a story about his recent experience binge watching Yellowstone. He explained that while he was initially entertained by the show, he felt that its dramatic structure never built towards any kind of dramatic climax. Rather than the complete experience of watching a film, he felt like the show just produced an endless stream of storylines that could theoretically go on forever. I didn't really get around to watching Yellowstone the first 3 years or so. Then I watched the first season. I'm like, wow, this is fucking great. I've always been a big fan of a big Kevin Costner fan. He's fucking wonderful in this, and I get really caught up in the show. I'm having a great time watching, he said. And the first season, I kind of talking like, oh, this is like a big movie. He continued, while I'm watching it, I'm compelled at the end of the day, it's just a soap opera. They introduce you to a bunch of characters. You learn their backstories. You know everybody's connection with everyone else. And then everything else is just your connection to the soap opera. Tarantino contrasted the experience of watching shows like Yellowstone, which he says he forgot about immediately after finishing to watching films. In his opinion, movies are more memorable in a way that TV shows can't be, no matter how cinematic they look. I'll see a good Western movie and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I'll remember the story. I'll remember the scene or that scene. It's built to an emotional climax of some degree. He said there's a payoff to it, but there's not a payoff in this stuff. There's just more interconnectional drama, and while watching it, that's good enough. But when it's over, I don't remember any details of it. And That's the gist of the article, and it really made me think about how his words, but what he said without saying it. When you so when did you hear about this conversation he had with Joe Rogan?
When you told me,
Really? So you hadn't
yeah,
heard?
no,
Okay.
I don't follow Tarantino like that. I
Well,
could
I don't follow him either, but this came up because I guess I
you
in
be on
my
social media.
feed. Well, um, on not it real. I don't know if it's called social media because so on my phone, if you swipe to the left, it has all the like latest news stories, and so like there are stories that I do follow, like television, cinema, that kind of stuff, and this popped up in it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you when I did tell you about it, you hopefully this is the first time you're hearing it. What did you think he's what was your opinion of this? Because you're not a big Tarantino fan, so you're already I don't want to say dismissive, but you already
Sir, I need you to pick a speed because you just started this thing and said he was my boy.
I
Is
was
he
being
either my boy
sarcastic.
or is he or am I either not a fan?
I was being sarcastic because we if you're you guys if you're new to the channel,
Hmm.
I'm Leroy, that's Michael. Michael has a love not hate relationship with Tarantino. You think he's just okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Some
not
people
like he's the greatest filmmaker ever. I enjoy
some
this.
people believe that. Some
Yeah.
people that some people argue he is one of the greatest filmmakers ever. So when he does talk, it does carry some weight because some of the films that he has made have.
Okay, so here a couple. I won't even say hot takes. Just quick notes as I hear that.
Mhm,
Um, that's his opinion. That's fine. When you first told me the thing, I was like, "Oh, this is just some other white dude saying whatever they feel." And there's a little bit of that, but also it's fine. I don't hate what he's saying. He's entitled to it. This is a guy who is, like you said, an auteur by many people.
mhm.
And whether or not I think he's the best, do I can recognize that I do like his movies a lot. Um, I'm trying to think if there's a Tarantino movie that I've seen that I didn't like. I don't think so. And I've seen pretty much most of them. I really like Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's fantastic.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I can't think of a bad Tarantino movie in my opinion. Just some I like more than others. Um, I think it's interesting. I think because he is such a movie guy, that makes sense to me. I think if he had been a television guy, he might be slightly different. Like I would want to hear that opinion coming from somebody who had kind of done TV and done movies. Because for me, I kind of feel like he already has a bias that he's already has his foot in movies. So okay,
Mhm.
it's a and it's a bad analogy, but it's like uh, I have a coworker who was a diehard Gamecocks fan. We
It's
both went
okay.
to
Everybody
yeah,
makes mistakes.
but my point is all this person can say is the Gamecocks are the best football team ever and they're always going to win. I went to USC. I enjoyed my time at the school. I liked my time at the school. I don't really care about the football team, but for that person, they are garnet and black, born and bred. They love the
Mhm.
Gamecocks, so they can do no wrong. So in that field, he can't see other football teams as being good. I mean, granted, he can recognize they're not the best team, but he always says they got a chance. I'm like, yeah, they probably don't have a chance in this game. Um, so I think if you're steeped in movies all the time, movies are going to be the best thing to you. I would want somebody like, and I don't know, you know people better than me. Who's somebody that does TV and movies, like directs TV and movies?
Uh,
Is that really a person?
yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
maybe Tyler Sheridan, right? Yellowstone.
Well, Tyler Sheridan has done it. Jordan Peele has done it. We've seen television directors become on go on to be movie
Movie
directors.
directors. Yeah.
Michael Mann started out in television and then went to movies. We've
See,
seen
I
Bryce.
would want to hear. I would want to hear some of those people's takes on whether they think movie is better than television. Just like vice versa, if a television person
Mhm.
told me television is the ultimate form, it's like, well, if you're not doing movies, I don't know. So I mean, I don't hate him for it. I think it's interesting. I don't agree, but I am not as riled up as I was when you first told me the headline.
Oh, you were
Like
riled up.
I was, man, maybe riled up as being too ambitious, but I was just kind of like, man, what is this dude talking about? He talking some trash. Now I'm just like hearing the article. I'm not as incensed. I guess I was kind of incensed. I'm not as incensed as I was before. It's like, okay, in his mind, that's his argument. I get it. I don't
I
agree
guess.
because I can think of memorable television shows.
See, and that's what I was going to get at, because I think a lot of people are overlooking the biggest part of this conversation that he said, because I do agree with parts of it. I didn't want to come on here and bash Tarantino because I do like a lot of his films. I do think there's some. Now I don't agree with some of his choices in a lot of his films. Like
Is
Once
Django
Upon
streaming somewhere? I feel like watching Django.
I watch clips of Django just about every day
Man,
because the algorithm
yeah.
feeds me, because I watch clips so much. So like my shorts will be, and the Hateful Eight. Like I'm not a real big fan of the gore in Hateful Eight and the blood and then the vomiting. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert: there's a lot of it's kind of a liquidy film, but there are
I mean,
there's some
Tarantino. I don't know if Tarantino makes a non-bloody movie. I can't think of one. You let me know.
Jackie Brown is non-bloody.
Ah,
So
I mean,
here's the thing:
okay,
it's violent. It's not gratuitous like Kill Bill
sure,
or Hateful Eight
okay,
or
I'll give
Reservoir
you that.
Dogs. Like there's certain moments in his films. There's the violence is gratuitous. So like
That's interesting that you said that
what?
because as you said that you don't like the gratuity in the movie, but I'm thinking of what's the one that I told you that I couldn't watch because it was too violent. I love the choreography. The Night
Um,
Comes for Us, or
yes,
I couldn't get into that because it was too gory for me. That's
but here's the
interesting.
funny thing: I knew that going in,
Hmm.
that it was going to be that type of movie because it was Takashi Mike. So like I knew going in, I knew it was going to be like this hack and slash kind of gory film, and I don't mind like Kill Bill. Kill Bill was violent. I don't mind that. There are times though, like Hateful Eight, I wasn't prepared for it in that type of setting, and
Okay.
it's almost like I can keep saying nigger all the time. I just can't take all the graphic violence and blood. So you give me one or the other. You got Samuel L. Jackson being called Major Nigger by Walton Goggins, and
Hmm.
and you tone down some of the vomiting blood stuff, and then I'm gonna let you get away with the N word all the time.
Walton Goggins, American Treasure. Walton Goggins.
Son, when he and Bruce Dern are doing that, when they're doing that back and forth with Samuel L. Jackson, that is comedy gold.
It is.
Um, but I say that to say I understand a little bit of what Tarantino was saying. There are movies that have stayed with me forever, and that experience will be treasured forever. But I also
Do
did
you
get a
think
little.
it has the I wanna get this out before I forget it. Do you
Go
think
ahead.
it has something to do with the experience in which you watched the movie? Like, were you in a movie theater prepared to do whatever? Because I feel like when you go to a movie theater, there's kind of an experience that you're already getting into, like, you're getting in this seat, the lights are darkening down, dimming down, and you're really prepared to focus on this
Sometimes,
big screen.
sometimes, because here's the thing, and I will say this, and this is why I disagree with him, because whatever that media is, whatever that content, and I hate calling it that, but that's what it is, whether it's a movie, a television show. And this is why I understand why some filmmakers are very much, you have to be in this predetermined environment, like you talked about, to watch a film. Because that experience, you're setting yourself up to have that experience. It's almost like, um, and I'm trying to bring it back for this tangent. Hannibal Buress does this comedy special, and I want to say it's the one he filmed in Chicago, where he talks about people will meet him and be like, "Oh, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke." And he's like, "That's not what I do. In order for me to do my thing, I have to have a stage. We have to sell tickets. You have to prepare yourself to be in the mindset of comedy. You've you prepare yourself that you're going to a comedy show. That's how my shtick works." And I believe some people believe that's how cinema has to work. And I understand Quentin Tarantino, and there are a lot of people who believe that. They believe that you have to be sitting in this theater to experience this film the way this director meant. However, that's not afforded for all of us. Sometimes you watch a film on your television at home. Sometimes you watch a film on your phone because that's all you have access to. So this idea that this grand plan that these old school cinema heads had to watch film is outdated. And I say that because one of my favorite movies of all time, and you know this because I actually have the shirt on, is Die Hard.
Hmm.
Now we have this thing about Die Hard being a Christmas movie. It to me it is a Christmas movie, but the reason why I love the film is because it's a great film, but also one of the memories that is attached to this film is the fact that it is one of the first R-rated films I was ever allowed to watch with my mom. So, is that film good? Yes, it is. Do I
Every
have
day I learn something interesting about your mama. Keep going.
yeah, so and keep in mind, this is a very religious school teacher,
Hmm.
gospel singer,
Very nice
and
lady.
it's
That's funny.
the opposite of everything that I am. But I say that to say this was the movie she was like, she had rented it. This is when we had VHS back in the day. So, those of you, if you've watched this and you're younger than 30 something years old, you will not understand what I'm saying. But back in the day, we used to get VHS, they used to be tapes, giant tapes, and we used to rent them from stores. We used to just go
You still
pick
got
out
VHS in your house?
yeah, yeah, dude. I'm
Yeah, I do too. I don't
really
have a VCR to play them on, but I got them. Yeah.
Katie had one, and then we got rid of it, and then she was like, "Oh, I have this whole movie I want to watch," and I was like, "B,
Not anymore.
that's that's on you." So
Okay, you keep talking. I'm good. My car might be ready. Keep going.
okay, so one of the things that I was saying is that film means a lot to me
Hello.
because not just that I not just because of the film was good, not just because I love Bruce Willis and I thought you know Rickman was great. I love that film because of the memory that it has. That is one of the films that I was able to watch with my mom, and that experience we had, and then we were able to talk about it. We were able to have this conversation about this film, why the characters made this decision. But here's another thing: I love Law and Order the same way. Law and Order, the television show, not SVU, not Criminal Intent. Well, Criminal Intent second. Um, Not Organized Crime. I forget what the other one is. But Law and Order is that TV show that I used to watch with my mom and try to guess who the person was. So I say that to say, talking about film, talking about television, television can have these memorable moments for you based on how you ingest that show. And I think one of the things that Tarantino has, that trap that Tarantino has fallen into, is the idea that it has to be perfect and that film is the only way to tell a story. And I think that to me is the best, not best, that to me is Tarantino has this belief, like a lot of people do, and I reject this notion that the only good storytelling is film, and the only way to watch a film is in the theater. I absolutely reject that notion. But Tarantino told on himself in a way, and he gave you a clue as to why Yellowstone did not resonate with him, and he did not understand the zeitgeist around Yellowstone. He just said he binge watched it.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the biggest problems.
Thanks a lot, Netflix.
And so I say that to say he just said he binge watched it. That was the biggest tell in that whole thing. We've already established that Tarantino is one of the purists who believes film is the only way to tell a good story. He's he basically said, "I am not impressed. I'll see a good Western, I'll remember for the rest of my life. I'll remember the story. I'll remember this scene or that scene. It built to an emotional climax of some degree," he said. "There's a payoff to it, but there's not a payoff on this stuff. There's just more interconnectional drama. And while I'm watching it, that's good enough. When it's over, I don't remember any of the details of it." I object that. I object to that entire line of thinking because he said so himself. He binge watched it, and I'm one of those people, and I told you this, and I said I disagree at times binge watching certain shows. I
Sure.
think You have to sit with it and watch it week to week. Me and you disagreed on The Old Man, where I said you have to watch that week to week. Penguin, week to week. There were certain shows I felt like The Last of Us, and I honestly think they understood watch it week to week. They didn't release these all at once. I do understand the Netflix model. There are shows that I think, oh, I watch it, cool, I move on. But I do think there is something to watching a show with the rest of the world at its appointed time or within that window and watching it week to week, and that story builds, that crescendo builds. And to say that you will not remember the beats or you won't remember the story, I call bullshit. And I'll give you three examples.
What when you mean you call bullshit, you mean like you don't believe what he's saying, or you're saying you don't agree with the thing?
I don't agree
So like,
with it, but I don't agree with what he's saying. Both.
oh, so you think he does remember? He's just saying that to say it.
I think he's saying that to say it because you
Okay,
notice what he didn't say it for. Because here's where I will say when he talks about Yellowstone. Yellowstone was this big story, this big show. I never got into it. I'm not saying that it's a bad show. It's just not something that I got into. I missed the boat, and I
it's a
don't.
lot of fun, man. It's a lot of
And
fun.
I'm quite sure it is. I've watched clips. Riley Kelly, or is
It's
it Kelly?
amazing.
Now, here's the thing. I told y'all that she was amazing, and nobody listened to me. I told
I
y'all
mean,
she was gonna be the next big thing. Want
were
to know
you on a
why?
were you on a soundboard and somebody disagreed with you?
A
Like,
lot of people were like, "Who is this woman?" And I told you guys, go back and watch The Libertine with Johnny Depp. Go back and watch a lot of her early stuff, and I was like, she was there, and she was there. Y'all overlooked her. I said the same thing about Ruth Wilson. Give these white women their flowers. Um,
they're getting enough flowers. Calm down. All right, sir.
but
Calm down.
no, I will say this: three shows that people, when you say that television doesn't stick with you, and television you forget the story after it's gone, I give you The Wire, Sopranos, and Game of Thrones. When those shows left, and every week, and when those seasons, they still resonate today. The effects that those shows had. Some people may throw in Lost. I didn't watch Lost when it was on week to week, so I'm not going to say Lost. I'm going to say those three shows because the way The Sopranos ended, no, I will say this: no movie that year caused that type of conversation. The way Game of Thrones ended, no show ended that way and caused a rift between fans since.
It's interesting. You those two ones that you mentioned, like the way they ended, were highly divisive.
Yes.
They weren't all like
Nope.
rainbows and
Nope.
unicorns for people.
Nope. And I'll say The Wire because The Wire to this day is still critics and fans believe their favorite television show as far as perfect. Some again, this is my list. The three shows that I would say disproves his theory. Some people will say Breaking Bad. Some people will say Lost. Um, there are other shows, Battlestar Galactica for us, for other people. I'm saying those three shows disproves his point because when he says the story doesn't, I don't remember anything. Michael K. Williams became a star for playing Omar. James Gandolfini, you know his name because of The Wire. I mean, because of Sopranos.
It's interesting you said Michael K. Williams and not who's
Michael
Stringer
B.
Bell.
Jordan.
No, I wouldn't even think of him. I was who's Stringer Bell.
Oh, Idris Elba.
Yeah,
Idris Elba. I would say, I'm. How do I say this? Idris Elba's too easy.
okay.
Michael K. Williams played a gay played a gay gangster who robbed other gangsters.
Hmm.
And when everybody talks about the alphabet police and all this other stuff because they're disparaging the LGBTQ characters, he was gay in a time when we weren't that accepting of it.
Sure.
Like we're not accepting of it now. Like we're a little bit more accepting.
Right.
But
And
you think
twisting words.
you think about when Michael K. Williams played Omar and how accepting of it they were then, and how well he played that character, that he was able to overcome people's biases and bigotry to play a gay character. That's power. I bring up James Gandolfini. I bring up and Game of Thrones. You throw a rock and hit some of those people.
Hmm.
These are household names for people. We The television show was so popular, people were naming their children Khaleesi. Like, I'm not saying that cinema doesn't have its place. What I am saying is that let's stop disparaging television. So it's almost like they'd go to bring it back. You talked about your coworker who is a Gamecock fan. You can like the Gamecocks and still acknowledge Georgia's a good team.
Hmm.
Texas is a good team. And that's to me what Tarantino's doing. He's doing that bias for those of you who don't who watch sports. He's doing the SEC thing. The SEC is the greatest, and I'm part of the SEC, and every other division is trash. And it's like, well, you're good, but you're not the only game in town. There's the Big Ten, the ACC, the Pac-12. You know, I yeah, you're dominant, but you're not the only one. And I say that about television because you yourself have talked about television that has stuck with you. That you go back and rewatch Person of Interest quite often.
I do, and it's no longer streaming anywhere. It's very sad. Like not
It's not on
streaming.
Paramount.
I don't think so because it was I think Warner Brothers produced it, so it was on Max for a while, but it's not
Mm,
there right now. So maybe they're shipping it somewhere else, letting someone else watch it. But I was
probably,
watching it on Max.
yeah, because Warner Brothers Discovery is on some bullshit. Um, I'm just,
I don't think
that's just
we haven't had our quarterly Zaslav talk in a while.
other things have gotten in the way. Zaslav getting off the hook for right now in 2024. I'll deal with you in 2025.
It's your Christmas present. Yeah,
But Merry Christmas, Zaslav.
yeah.
The We Trying channel's gonna ease up on you for at least a few weeks till you do something stupid
Hmm.
and not win, not if, but win.
Right.
Um, but no, so for you, I named three television shows. Are there television shows that you say that spoke to you that you remember, beats, moments, you remember where you were, that just stick with you, that you're like, that's storytelling?
Yeah. I mean, you said it. Person of Interest. That's probably my favorite TV show, at least of recent. Not of recent. Yeah, it might be.
I'd say top five for you.
Oh, definitely, easily. That's
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Person of Interest is fantastic. Just the themes it dealt with in terms of science fiction and doing a procedural show, but still hitting some really big elements. I thought were fantastic. Everybody in that show was on point. Uh, the female characters were awesome.
Taraji, right?
Taraji was in it. Yeah, she was in it. I was so sad when she left that to go do Empire, but I understand you got to be like the lead
Mhm.
star of that as opposed to a co-lead for Person of Interest. But Taraji was in it. Um, Amy Acker was in it.
Yeah.
Oh God, her name was Samin Shah on the show. I can't think of what her name is in real life. Doesn't matter. But a lot of great female characters in the show. Um, that show stuck with me. A show that's more recent and The Good Place.
Yes.
I really like The Good Place because was it Michael Schur? What's the guy's name?
Yeah, Michael Shore.
I mean, he had the idea. Hey, why don't I tell a comedy that also deals with philosophy, which is a wild idea, but he pulled it off.
He's on Dan
Uh,
Lebitard a lot too. That's how
okay,
that I knew of him, but I didn't know him until he was on Dead Lebitard. I was like, oh, that you're that Michael Shore. So yeah,
yeah, that show's fantastic. He has a new show that's on Netflix. That,
shrink. No, that
huh?
sorry, that's Apple Plus shrinking. No, no, the Ted Danson show.
Yeah, yeah, The Inside Man. Um,
Yes.
that one I enjoyed too. I don't know if I like it as much as The Good Place because I haven't had as much time to sit with it yet. But I mean, the in terms of shows that just hit on the comedies that hit on stuff and are very sentimental, fantastic. I really
Mhm.
love those. Um, I really like the original Office, the UK Office more than the
Yeah,
US Office for me. I think it did
yeah,
two
I
seasons,
agree.
like some holiday specials, and it was fantastic. I mean, those are three shows that just really stick out. Like, oh yeah, this is. This is interesting, and for me, it's interesting because the shows you named are more drama focused. The ones I named are more comedy focused.
Well, that's
So I,
because you're a happier person.
that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is everybody can
Is
kind
it
of
not
find
true?
their own. Sure, but the point I was getting at is that people can find their own type of genre, whether it's drama, comedy, or whatever. But I mean, you can find something that sticks with you. It just yeah, it's interesting to hear Quentin Tarantino say that. I don't know if he was trolling people or what, but it's wild a little bit.
I I see. And I didn't watch all of the clip because you can go watch the clip and watch the conversation. And one, I didn't want to give Joe Rogan any more views, uh, but I find, and this is a problem that I have with Joe Rogan's show or this format of people who come on to these platforms and people say these wild things and there's no pushback because that's where I would have liked. And again, I didn't watch all of it, so I don't know if Joe Rogan did do this. So for all the the Roganites or whoever you guys are, there's a lot of you.
Welcome to our show.
Yeah, there's a lot of you. Some of you got some of you are cool, some of you are annoying. Well, you know, like freaking cowboy fans. Good lord. Um, Someone should have pushed back and said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you going to tell me?" Because again, you mentioned no shows. I'm going to mention shows that have stuck with people that we haven't talked about. Seinfeld. For some people, that is the greatest show on television. Curb Your Enthusiasm. I got a couple of homeboys who watch Curb, and they swear by that show. Like that is the greatest show of all time. Um,
Oh, we're talking about older stuff. I
no,
mean,
no, I'm not saying. Oh, I'm talking. What I'm saying is there are other shows to me that, like piggybacking off what you said, that proves that you could have a show that sticks with you more than a film that you watch. Because just because it's a film doesn't mean it's superior to storytelling. I do agree that some of these shows need to be limited series. Like I like the fact that The Wire stopped at 5. Uh, Breaking Bad stopped at, was it 4 or 5?
I think
Um,
5. But then
I
they did
think,
have the spinoff. But yeah,
yeah. I didn't watch the spinoff. What is it? El
very
Camino?
good.
Is it?
No, I'm not talking about the movie. I was talking
Oh,
about
break.
Better Call
Better
Saul.
Call Saul. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen that either. Some people again, Better Call Saul. Um, I'm not saying that the shows that I mentioned are the only ones for everybody that there is that show. I just feel like Tarantino was very dismissive of television. Um, I personally, from Tyler Sheridan, I love The Lioness. I thought The Lioness was amazing. I My wife wants to watch it now because I've talked so much about it. Season 2, I heard ups. I did not know you could top what happened in season 1. They said they topped it in season 2. Um,
Is that season 2 still going or is it over?
it might it might have a few episodes left.
Hmm.
The Lioness is so good it almost maybe got Paramount Plus.
I'm hoping they do like they did last time and put season 2 on Amazon eventually.
They probably will because Lower Decks is on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And now I will say this. I probably will get Paramount Plus in January whenever that Section 31 drops with Michelle Yao.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I probably will get it and then binge all of it like that. And then
Is that a movie or a show?
I think it's a movie. I
Okay.
believe it's a movie. But no, and to bring it back, I think the idea of Tarantino binging it takes away from the beats, enjoying the show as it to me as it should have been enjoyed. And let's talk about this for a second because when I texted you, I don't think you knew the old man had got canceled.
No, no. Heartbreaking.
And I remember, so I watched it week to week. You watched it once it was over. How did you watch it? How did you consume it? And how did you feel about season 2?
Season 2 was really good. And I knew season 2 was going to be good because I really enjoyed season 1. It's just a show where there are certain shows that are kind of popcorn shows where you can kind of put on the background and kind of pay attention,
Hmm.
not pay attention. but this is a show where you need to pay attention. And I never felt like because of my work schedule, I could cut out enough time to really watch it like I wanted to.
Hmm.
Um, and so it kind of just kept building up and building up. And I just waited and put it off forever. So I binged it, but I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but like some people, you think they're gone and they come back and big reveals and stuff. And it's just like, oh, that show is a another show that does really, and this is, you know, a man talking, but I think the female characters are represented well in that show. So many different female characters, and they get a chance to shine in that. And I'm sad that they're. I'm hoping somebody will pick them up. Maybe that will happen. Maybe Amazon will do like they did with Sci-Fi and be like, "Hey, I like this show. We'll make more of it." I don't know, but yeah.
I was, I was, I remember when the trailer came out, and for anybody who hasn't seen The Old Man, here's my line for. Hold on, about to sneeze. Uh, oh, excuse me. Uh, Probably should have muted my mic for that, but I couldn't. Um, or Michael could have. Bad director, Michael. Um,
You know what? I'll take that one. You're right.
uh, Mike, to convince people, because I was sitting at a table with some coworkers and we were talking about like Linus, old slow horses, the old man, and I said, and they were like, "What it's about?" And I said, "John Wick gets old, he's retired, and somebody decides to fuck with him and the people he loves." And they were like, "What?" And I said, "That's the old man." I said, "John Wick gets old, and he's retired. He ain't bothered nobody, and somebody is like, 'Hey, I think I'm gonna kill John Wick today.'" And you're like, "Oh, that's a bad decision." But
Yeah.
nobody knows he's John Wick. And they're like, "Who is this old dude fucking us up?" And it's like, "Yeah, that's John Wick, buddy. You should have left him the fuck alone." And it's like, "Oh, you fucked up." And I
Hmm.
said, "That's the old man." And they're like, "Okay." So I'm like waiting for a couple of my coworkers to come around to watching it and be like, "Oh, you were right. I'm I not." And I recommended it before the announcement came out. So I'm kind of like, ugh. I hate when you get to that season two, because
Well, here's the thing. Maybe if enough people do watch season two, somebody will be like, "Oh, we should pick this up and do something with it."
now here's the interesting thing. I watch a lot of television through YouTube and YouTube TV. They're running ads for season two of The Old Man. Watch all episodes on Hulu.
Hmm.
So they're running ads. So it's one of those things where I don't think they made it, and they're not. They're going to try to get viewership back, get that money back from viewers, subscribers who are watching this. So I'm hoping you're right that they do see, because the first season was gangbusters, but again, that strike, you know, really did put a damper, and the viewing numbers were definitely not as high as season one to season two. But
Hmm.
that's another show that I think tells a very good story, shows you some very complex characters. Um, my top, and I'm getting around to a couple of shows that I missed out. So I'm still like, since I have the time off, I'm going to watch Shogun, but I like want nothing, like I want to commit to that show.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I noticed he didn't say that about Shogun. He didn't say that about Penguin. Penguin,
Well, I mean, do we know that he watched those things?
and what I'm saying is, you just watch Yellowstone, and Yellowstone was fun, but I don't know if that show is on the level, and I'm not saying it isn't. I don't know if Yellowstone is on the level of a Penguin. That for like the Penguin can make no more episodes. That first season, that one season of Penguin, no notes. Another show that only had one season, and I still to this day hope they never go back to it. The Watchmen,
Hmm.
the Watchmen on HBO Max. I'm not gonna lie to you, I shed some tears when they got, oh boy, at that last two episodes
Hmm.
when Regina came out, guns a blazing. Just, I mean, that was amazing storytelling. From the first scene to the last, I entirely disagree with Tarantino that television has a patina of the storytelling that film does. I would say some there are more complex characters in some television shows than in some movies that I've watched. You're not gonna tell me that cinema. You're not gonna tell me that the Fast and the Furious movies are better than some of these television shows we just mentioned. You're just not going to. It just
Hmm.
doesn't have. It may have that big spectacle feel, but you're not going to tell me that The Wire isn't superior to the Fast and Furious films as far as storytelling, memorable characters, educating you about what goes on in these communities.
I mean, Fast and Furious did tell us about race wars, sir. What goes on in communities?
About what?
About race wars.
You know what? They did. I'll give you one.
Okay.
So, what? So, like for you, I know this is coming at the end of the year. What were some of the shows that you watched this year that just like left that imprinted upon you that you were just like, wow, this show was, I did not expect this, or this was really good. I did expect this, and this is really good. Because for me, I have three.
um, Let me look up to see if it came out this year.
While you're looking up, I will say for me, Arcane season two. Um, I already mentioned the Penguin and Old Man. Fallout was really good. Fallout impressed me. I've watched quite a bit of television. The Black Doves I thought was okay. Three Body Problem I thought, ugh, I have some issues with that show. Um, I finished it, but I have some issues. But my top
Um, Go
three
ahead.
would have to be Penguin, Arcane, and The Old Man. I'd have to see those three were my top.
Um, Let me see here. Yeah, okay. My three would be Shogun season one. Um, I really enjoyed Shogun season one a lot. When we say TV shows, okay, that was 2003, so I won't say that one. Um, I'm trying to remember when I saw what. I was gonna say Blue Eye Samurai, but that was last year. But no, Shogun season one was good.
Mhm.
The show I mentioned earlier, and that really stuck out to me. The Inside Man, just the subjects that it dealt with while still being funny and everything. And then the one I'll bring up, which I brought up before, season two of We Are Lady Parts. That's the show about, was it
The
five
band?
Muslim women? Yeah,
Yeah,
five
yeah,
Muslim women living in Britain that
yeah.
are a rock band. It's very funny. It is Nita Manzoor. Is that her name? Yeah,
Hmm.
she did. We talked about it before. Polite Society movie that
Yeah.
came out last year.
Hmm.
But I hope that show continues. It's on Peacock, but that really stuck out with me because it gave me a voice I didn't get to hear. It let those ladies just kind of do their own thing and be awesome, um, while informing me of another culture that I don't necessarily
You're
know
in.
a lot
Yeah.
about. Yeah, are in. So that was cool.
Like I think there was a lot of like I'm not going to sit up here and say that there's a lot of television that is just like groundbreaking. There because there's so much of it that's being made. That some of it is not going to be great. Some of it's not going to be good. I think the ones that stick out and stand out is a combination of right timing. You dropped it at the right time when something's going on in the world and this drops and you're like, as a society we coalesce around this. I think it has to be good. Um, it has to be good with not just the writing, but the characters. You have to identify with something in that show. For me, like I thought The Gentleman was really good. Um, there are certain shows that I did not watch that I know a lot of people did, and for some people, the Aaron Hernandez story really spoke to them um, because they watch football, they enjoy football. So this person who's attached to football this infamous character to see it dramatized in a way makes it easier for some people to get into the sport. And it's weird because you have these people who like drama, who like television, then you have sports fans, and those people join together to like this show or to bash it. Um, Agatha All the Way came out this year. The Acolyte, I like The Acolyte. We've talked about it. For a lot of people felt seen in that show. I do believe that it had a campaign of hate against it because it was different. I do believe that it had a lot of work and heavy lifting to do to tell that story. That in some parts they didn't do a great job. X Men '97 came out this year. As far
Dang,
as
that was
animated
this year. Wow,
this year.
that
Um,
was good stuff.
so
You
like,
started watching season 3 of What If yet?
yeah, I'm on. I've only watched the first episode though.
Okay, yeah, I haven't even watched any of them yet.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode. It's but yeah, as I'm thinking about these shows that came out this year, to say that a show cannot tell that story to me is just it's insane. Like Batman the Cape Crusader came out this year. I'm just looking at shows that
Hmm.
came out this year that a lot of people were talking about. Um I wasn't I we just now got on board with this show. We started watching it. The English Teacher from FX.
Oh yeah, I like that show.
Um Mr. and Mrs. Smith came out, I want to say earlier this year. Is that
That sounds
correct?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Presumed Dennis True Detective came out this year. Um it's television's a little tricky, but I feel like this idea, and I've noticed this. If, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is this trend, and we've talked about this with the MCU and superhero films. There is this old guard that is steadily screaming, "Get off my lawn!" when it comes to changing how we watch things.
Hmm.
And I think there's some good that's coming with how we change how we watch things, but I do believe there is some bad. But I do believe that there is this mentality of if it's not in the movie theater and it's not cinema, it's not good storytelling.
Cool. Wrap it up there.
Yeah. So how was your Christmas, man?
It was great. I was off Christmas, and I don't go back to work until January 2nd, so that's nice. Um, being in the news business, those holiday days in the newsroom can be very slow in terms of trying to find content to put in a show if you're trying to be different and creative. So that was a slog, but now that's someone else's problem dealing with it for the rest of the couple of days. So that's cool. Um, I didn't do anything. Um, I have not seen my nieces and nephews yet to give them their Christmas presents. I think we'll do that this weekend. So that'll be fun to see their faces when they open their stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I
but
mean,
yeah, I've just been chilling.
they have to be released from their contracts, in the coal mines, so they can actually get their Christmas presents.
I don't even know what that's a reference to.
These child labor laws that we've all seen being laxed every so often. When they talk about, hey, 13, you can work a 10-hour day.
Okay, fair
Oh,
enough.
watch 2025. That's what you can start seeing. Child labor laws, little by little, coming down. You heard it here first on the
That
We
was the hot
Tried
take that we needed. Yeah, great.
Video.
But yeah, that
That's-
was it for me. What about you?
uh, since I have both sets of parents alive, my parents and Katie's parents, we do a Christmas here in the morning. Then we go to my parents' house and we do Christmas there. So the boys essentially get two Christmases, um, and they don't understand. They're still in that phase where they're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave the house. I won't. But it's like it hasn't registered that we're getting two Christmases.
Hmm.
So like I'm waiting for that moment where it does. So like, kind of like Christmas is like for us right now. Still, like we get some pictures, we take they get some stuff and they like it, but Owen's still at that age where I can be like, hey man, you got this for Christmas, and he's like, oh, it turns the TV on. I'm cool. Thanks, Dad. But I'm waiting to get to that point where it's like Christmas is this magical time. Evan is getting there where he's like, he knows Santa exists, and I'm cool with Santa. Owen is like, who is that old white man, and why do I have to sit with him? So, uh, I don't go back to work until the 6th or the 7th. I don't know yet. I've been off since Tuesday, Christmas Eve, and I don't know about you, but I'm trying not to go back to work ever. I'm trying to be a house husband, trying to win the lottery. I'm trying to be a side piece. I don't know. I'm trying to do
Wow.
whatever I can to not go
Okay.
back. I'm trying to sell these feet pics.
And you guys can support us right here on YouTube and all our other social media places to help
I'm
make
I'm
that dream
trying
a
to get an
reality too.
OnlyFans where I'm just a bald black dude and I'm just rubbing my head and somebody's like $5 a month. I need to see that every day. Cool.
Okay. There we go. It's wonderful.
Uh, yeah. So we won't see you guys until the new year. So hopefully you guys be safe. Have a good holiday. Uh, if we didn't say it before, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, uh,
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa, and what do people say for the new year? Um,
All
is it?
anxiety.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
Or they sing that at New Year. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I need to buy some champagne. Uh,
All right.
yeah,
Leroy's going through his thoughts, folks. We'll see you.
yeah. We're out. Peace.